Hello everyone, welcome back to another mini metro challenge video. Today we're going to be attempting to get 1,800 passengers in Addis Ababa, um, with only loops. So I don't know if this comes across in the audio, but I've been a little bit sick over the past few days, so I was just doing some offline attempts with this challenge. So this gameplay is not live. So you can see here from the very beginning, because it always spawns three, those three make up your base triangle, or so your base loop, rather. And so, in each loop, you always want a square, a diamond, and a circle. So one of the nice things about this map is that multiple squares can generate, so it's not a map that forces you into all lines have to visit one station. So, just keep in mind that even with loops, you still want obviously you still want your circle, your triangle, and your square. That was not the correct order. But you also want to limit it so no more than three. Generally, no more than three of the same type of station in a row. And you will see me do some odd things with my lines to make sure I don't go past that. So, yeah, one of the important things, I think, with this. So here, for example, I am deliberately making a new loop, mainly because I need to service this triangle, and I pulled it off my map, but also because then I don't have a 4 circles in a row thing. Yeah, one of the important things with loop gameplay is that all your vehicles should face the same direction. So for example, so that because I had all the lines visiting this square, I changed the direction green was going in. Now, I did just end up extending blue up to the pentagon here, so that didn't really matter that much. But it is quite important to pick the direction that your vehicles are going to be traveling in, because it can get, so, you're about to see here in the gameplay, I'm going to pull this circle off of green, so that green only has 3 circles in a row. I'm going to give it to red, which then only puts 2 circles in a row. So yeah, so direction of your loop is important, because that impacts where your passengers are going to go. So the reason why I flipped green's direction is because all the lines previously were visiting just this square, and so if anyone had a pentagon, they would have had to have gone all the way around the loop. But obviously, I then extended all 3 of them up there, and then that direction change on green didn't really end up mattering anyway. However, I did end up running red in the opposite direction. and you can see me just fiddling about with the locomotive there to make sure that it stays going in the same direction. So if you ever see a tunnel in your end of week things, don't pick it up. If you need more than the base number of tunnels, it's probably gonna be easier to reset to try and beat this one. So here, for example, because this has now become a star, I am now thinking about moving green into the star, because right now, if you're on the red line, you have to go all the way around. Oh yeah. So here's something I've kind of realized in testing is that I think bigger loops are better than smaller loops. And so you can see me here just adjusting stuff on the network. That is number one to free up red, because I realized that red were basically just doing the same thing, just opposite sides of a figure eight. So I decided, why not move them around? There I'm thinking of putting a red loop down here somewhere and giving this to green, and then this triangle spawns over here. So instead I start planning out. So I visit the rare to get it across the blue line here. I did think about going up to the triangle first, but I'm visiting a triangle anyway here. And so by visiting the rare, that just means that stars don't have to get transferred to another line to complete. You'll notice that a lot of my hubs are squares and the rare stations. And that's just because there's not that many of them. In the case of the rares, there's literally one copy on the whole map. And so that's the thing. But you can always see that I'm always following the no more than 3 in a row. So here, for example, I have basically 4, because I don't consider rares for my keep 3 in a row, because there's so few rares compared to triangles and squares that it is just easier to yeah. And so here you can see me thinking about what's best, and so I decide that actually it's better to go up to the to this rare here instead of servicing the triangle, to get some of these guys for blue, and then but it doesn't matter, because once again, because green is traveling counterclockwise, they dump all their stars here, and then green just has to move them 1 station. And so now at this point, I'm seeing that there's a lot generating out over here. And so I'm like, well, number one, I need an additional locomotive on the red line, because it's just too long for one locomotive to do it. And so I end up giving red that 1 carriage there, but then because I end up seeing that there's going to be 4 shapes here, 4 circles in a row on red. I decided to use the yellow that I picked up because I was getting slightly concerned about the number in a row I'd be giving. And so I then decide to pick up the carriage and give it to yellow. And yellow, I'm gonna leave alone for the rest of the game. Like at this point onwards, I've got all 4 of the lines I'm gonna use down, and I've got about 1,000 passengers left to deliver. One slight thing I'm just realizing here is that probably to slightly optimize it, I maybe should have brought red down to service this plus here. And that would have been probably better, because then blue isn't having to carry them all the way around this loop. So here's another good thing as well, which is that I have yellow on this side and I've got green on this side. So originally I'm like, well, let's have yellow service this guy, and then because then it can just dump all his passengers off and he doesn't have to go all the way around the loop. And then I realized that that would form a crease, which is when you've got 45-degree angle or less between any of your between any of your lines on the station. It is something you should generally try to avoid, because it forces the train to stop there no matter what. But here instead, I end up deciding I'm gonna have red, and because red is running actually, I believe they're both running, yeah. Because red is running counterclockwise and blue is running clockwise, it ends up being that if green has a diamond, or sorry, not a diamond, a rhombus, they want to drop off here, then blue will pick it up. If yellow has a rhombus, they'll drop it off here, and red will pick it up. And so here's something else you're gonna see, is that I actually needed to manipulate red there, and that's because, I don't know how well you can see it, but red actually has a little bit of a up-down segment here before it enters the pentagon, and so that's just to avoid creases. So it's important to know where your creases are. That saves so much. And so I'm just manipulating my trains around just to make sure that this doesn't get too incredibly busy, because at this point I'm just looking to survive. And so here I'm actually thinking, because I actually think that challenge is 600 while doing this, not 800. So I'm thinking, well, why does it do it? Because that's what I manipulated them for, was just, I'm like, okay, well, I've got less than 100 left to do. It ended up being, instead of less than 100, it ended up being less than 300. However, it didn't really matter, considering I was so close that I think a timer starting anywhere wouldn't have mattered that much in the grand scheme of the run. Thank you so much for watching. That is 1,800 passengers in Addis Ababa using only loops.